Touchdown Tampa Bay. You're listening to the PewterCast.
Welcome to the PewterCast and a very, very special show. This is our 2019 PewterCast Awards nomination show. Ren Daxt, it is here. Time for one of my favorite times of the entire year, PewterCast Awards.
Yes, Brent's favorite show.
It's true. It is. I love this show. But Ren, we've got a whole mess of stuff to get through tonight as far as our awards nomination. Now, this show, for anyone who might not be aware, the PewterCast is we host an annual awards show. This was actually something that we did from our very first year. And the idea is this is the only fan-voted awards show, at least that I know of, surrounding the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And even though we've had some down years, there are still lots of things to celebrate. There are players who just played their absolute hearts out. There are people surrounding this thing that we do that we also kind of want to honor on a yearly basis. Some of our friends in the media room, some of our fellow podcasts, different things like that. So we'll be going through. We've got 11 different categories we're going to be announcing awards for tonight, Ren. That I'm pretty super excited. At least these are nomination shows. And at the end of the show, guys, we will open up voting. You guys will be able to go vote right away. You can vote, I think almost as often as you want. And we got ways to filter out bad stuff, but you guys can go, you can vote. You can vote as often as you want. Make sure you vote after you go vote for our friend Big Nasty at ForwardHallOfFans.com every day from now until December the 27th, actually. And you'll do that longer than you will for this show because, Ren, in just like 2 weeks, we're going to be back with the actual award show, January 26th. That one will go live at 9 o'clock. January 26th, we'll be back to let everybody know who's the winner. So, Ren?
Yes.
Why don't we get into this? Category number 1, the PewterCast Guest of the Year. Voting for your favorite guest from the PewterCast, the 2019 season on. Ren, we had nine guests over the course of the season. A couple guests kind of doubled up over the year. We had a couple of weeks where it was just you and I. This is really from those guests who came on our Tuesday shows, or Wednesday shows, actually, I guess. We record on Tuesday nights. And people there. So the nominees for this particular category, you guys go vote and let us know who it is that you like. JP Peterson from FanStream Sports actually was our first guest this season. Kicked us off. It was a very, very fun conversation with him. Mark Cook at PewterReport.com. We got Greg Allman of The Athletic. We got TJ Reeves from the Bucs Radio Network. Derek Fournier, formerly of What the Buck. It was fun to get to talk to him. Scott Smith of Buccaneers.com. Eddie Encina of the Tampa Bay Times. Scott Reynolds at PewterReport.com, and Zach Blobner, WDAE.
This should be an interesting one, I think. Like you said, the list's a little shorter than normal than past years.
Right.
Because we did have some doubles up, and we had a couple of weeks where, like you said, it was just us. And we got some new people in there that we haven't talked to before. So this is going to be interesting.
Right.
I'm interested to see how this goes, especially early on.
Right. And there were some weeks like if you remember, there was the and I'm not trying to bias all the voters out there, but just trying to remember what some of these weeks were. Like we got like some big new bits of news dropped. Like Mark Cook dropped one on us about Shaq Barrett over the course of his week. I think did Greg Allman came in and I remember there was something kind of heavy with him. But then there was just like a really good listen, which was like Derek Fournier and Scott Reynolds. If you remember, Scott Reynolds came in, he gave us like a full hour, whereas most of these guys we get like a half hour, and Scott just kind of kept going on. JP Peterson was obviously one of our new guys, and I'm going to stop because I'm not trying to single anyone out. I'm just saying there are various guys, and as you guys are voting out there, especially if you've been listening to the show throughout the course of the year, you can go back in the podcast feed and just kind of even maybe from the show notes, just sort of go, oh yeah, that's what he talked about, and that's what he talked about, and that was that there. So you guys can vote, but you get to vote. You've been listening all year long. Now you get to vote for who was your favorite guest right here on the PewterCast from the 2019 season. All right, next category we have here. And see, over in the chat room, they're saying they'd rather hear from us rather than watch this game. So there you go. All right, next category. This surrounds Buccaneer podcast land. I said this wasn't all just Buccaneers. This was having to do with some of the things going on around us as well. From Bucs podcast land, this is the best. Not the best. It's just the Bucs podcast of the year. Mm-hmm. This is one that we have been nominated for every single year. It's our own podcast, but we have legitimately been nominated. We have yet to win, Ren.
That is correct.
We have yet to win. I want to correct that. But we'll see. It's up to the voters, really. It's up to the voters.
I don't even care anymore. I don't. Last year was sort of like my all-in as far as, like really wanting this. Like, come on now. Like, come on, guys. This is like year 3, and, we've nominated every year. It's time for us to win this. And we didn't. Mm-hmm. So now, obviously, all the categories are just completely bogus, and there's no point in doing this anymore.
All right. Glad to know you feel that way.
Of course not. But this year, if we don't win, I'm really not going to be upset about it. Last year, I was upset about it. I was legitimately, upset about it. I'm like, really? I'm like, really? Really? But now
well, of course, in winning last year, our friends James and David over at Locked On Bucs podcast, and they are back, Ren, to defend their title.
Oh, good.
They are one of the nominees this year. Locked On Bucs, of course. The PewterCast is going to be on the list. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry, I should mention this. We've got 5. There's 5 on the list, and actually, most of these categories, because of our nominating committee. Actually, I don't think I talked about that, but because of our nominating committee, the way they nominated, we started looking at it. Normally, we do it with 4. But they kind of pushed us to 5, the way that shook out. So so we've got 5. So let me get through this, and we'll talk about the nominating committee in just a minute. But it's the PewterCast, it's us, Locked On Bucs, the Pewter Nation podcast over at Pewter Report. That's our friends Scott and Mark and Trevor, Grizz and Matt and those guys over there. Real Bucs Talk, Michael Pless and Mark Ramirez are over there. And then a new podcast on the scene this year, Ren. Catching a nod in their rookie season as a podcast, the Loose Cannons podcast by Sammer, and I know Stank Bastard does it, and Stephen Beck's been on it here lately, and Christian from Headlines Barbershop. So they've got a great podcast over there. So those are the podcasts who have been nominated for this year, Ren.
Yeah, well, James and David, like you said, are back, and I wasn't upset that James and David won. I just want to make that clear. Right. I was just upset that I lost.
Didn't win. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So, like you said, you should probably talk about the nomination committee because, there's going to be some surprises coming up with, players and other things that didn't make it that you like this one. Like when you read me the nominees, I was shocked that Ira didn't make it.
Right. I was shocked that Sports Day Tampa Bay didn't make it with Rick Stroud's
exactly.
podcast.
Yeah.
And a few others. So
but
here's
the reasons why.
Right. So the reason for that and the way that this has worked. So trying to keep this really, a lot of people kind of give you the hee hee ha ha, like, oh, it's the Dundies or it's something like that. And you don't want to make that comparison. That's fine. But trying to keep it out of that and sort of bring some idea of legitimacy is there's actually a nominating committee. And here's how it's formed. And it's different every year, but it's formed of 2 credentialed media people. It's formed of 2 fringe media people. So that's people like you and I, Ren, who do Bucs podcasts who are not credentialed. Right. Then you and I each get a vote because it's our show. And then we do 2, I don't know how you call it, not super fans. That's not the idea, but 2 fans that we've interacted with that we can sort of kind of trust their ideas and their looks at stuff. So we kind of get it's a sample from, kind of all the different pieces of people looking at this. And that's who makes up the nominating committee. There's 8 people, you and I, and they all send in their nominations and we just sort of tally them up and here it is. And this year, most of these categories went to 5 because they kept giving us ties.
Yes, we tried to keep it at 4, but, and the point of being fair and Brent and I sort of making decisions behind the scenes, behind the curtain. So the people, that if they were tied for fourth place, they both made it. So we have a lot of people with or a lot of categories, I should say, with 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's how it works. In case anybody was wondering there. So all right, moving on, Ren. This is the last one that doesn't concern the Buccaneers themselves, but the last one was about the Best Bucks podcast. First one was guest of the year here for the Orange Show. This last one is the Bucks Media Personality of the Year.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. This is interesting because it's not like your favorite writer or your favorite, or the person that you agree with the most on Twitter. Mm-hmm. It's best personality. So, I voted for Lee DeKemper.
Right.
He didn't make the list.
Right.
But as far as personalities,
that's a personality for sure. Yeah.
It's like, for me, it's like, that guy's got to be in there. Mm-hmm. But, he didn't make the list. But so that's sort of the difference. So if you think of this as like best, it's not best Bucks reporter or podcast personality, or it's sort of like, kind of like, who's your favorite? Like, who has it takes all that encompassing of, their ability, their trustworthiness, and but if you have ability and trustworthiness and you're a bump on a log, you might not be nominated for this category.
Mm-hmm. And this one, just to be clear, the what qualified people for this particular category, it's the media core. You have to be credentialed media with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and there is a little asterisk that I put next to this, like for the sake of this particular award. Carmen Vitale and Scott Smith, who work for the Buccaneers, so they're not really credentialed because they work for the team, but they do that same thing, and they're in those same rooms, and they have that same aspect, so they qualify for this award as well. So with that being said, without further ado, let's unveil the nominations. What do you think, Ren?
Sure.
All right.
I voted for myself, by the way. I did not make it. Brett
right.
disqualified it.
Right.
Because of the credential thing.
Exactly. So let's see here. Who do we got? We have Trevor Sikkema over at PewterReport.com, who's back once again. We have Carmen Vitale of Buccaneers.com, who came in, I think she came in like second for this award or one of our awards last year. She was so close. So she's back to try to rein in her first Pewtie of the year.
Fresh off her first year of being a Buccaneers writer.
Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times.
Oops, Stroudy make it, all right.
Yeah. And Ira Kaufman at JoeBucksFan.com.
All right.
And the surprise, Tom Basinger of the Tampa Bay Times.
I'm so proud of our nominees for putting Tom in there because he's there is no in between.
No, there's not.
There's no in between.
Right.
And he's not my favorite, but I do not find him as nearly as grating as my co-host does.
It's there's just whatever. But hey, listen, this is not about me and my own personal thing. This really is about the Bucks fandom as a whole. And Tom Basinger has a huge following. He certainly is a personality. Like he 100% is a personality. He is credentialed Bucks core. It would be very unfair to leave him off this list, regardless of, quite honestly, I think our own personal feelings towards each other. But anyway, those are your nominations. And listen, I certainly don't want to bias you. If you guys think that Tom Basinger is the best,
Trevor Sikkema,
Ira, Carmen Vitale, Rick Stroud, and Tom Basinger.
It's a strong field.
That is a strong field. I'll be very interested to see how this one comes out. Trevor, by the way, is reigning in this particular category.
Didn't Cook win last year?
No, Cook won Guest of the Year last year.
Oh.
Yeah.
So Trevor's a 2-time winner, though, right?
I think he might be 3.
Like back-to-back.
No, I think he might be. I think he 3-peated last year. Yeah. So this would be like his 4th time in a year winning. I think. I'm pretty sure that's the way it is, yeah.
We got to tank that.
Trevor's got a big following, man. He's got a big following, but we
got to spread rumors or something.
There you go. So anyway, but yeah, so good luck to all of you guys, and we'll see how it comes out. Get your people to vote. All right, Ren, let's focus this in a little bit more here in these last categories towards the Buccaneers themselves. I don't know if you count these guys as Buccaneers. I do. Coach of the Year. Let's talk about our Coach of the Year. Todd Bowles, defensive coordinator. Makes a whole lot of sense. Byron Leftwich, actually, this one surprised me a little bit from the nominating committee, but I like that he was in there. Byron Leftwich, offensive coordinator. Casey Rogers, defensive line. Larry Foote, linebackers coach. And Kevin Ross, defensive backs coach.
All right. Yeah, okay. Those are all good ones. I mean, I
think
was
you make a case for each one of them.
I don't, except for the linebacker, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
Devin White, Levante David, that whole, and I mean, wouldn't that also count Shaq Barrett and JPP and, those guys out on the end?
Does it?
They're linebackers, so I don't know.
But what room are they in?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, so if you looked at it that way, because linebacker, I'm like, okay, so it's Minter, Devin White, and Levante David. Really, what are you coaching Levante David by now? You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but
right. I assume, I'm going to just say I assume that this does include what we would think of as the defensive ends, who are really the outside linebackers. They're in this room.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
And if that's true, then I can see him being in there. Because having JPP, Shaq Barrett in there,
But then you also have the defensive line, which is at least that middle. By that same logic, it'd be that middle guys. The
best
Will
run
Golston.
defense in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, look, Derrick Henry, who's had damn near 200 yards for the last 3 games he's played in a row, and we held him to 75. So, and I mean, we held all the big guys this year.
One run.
Right, that's right. And we've held most of the big name, running backs in the league to well under 100 yards this year. So,
he only gave up 100 yards to one guy, and he fumbled.
Wait.
That was the Seattle game when Devin White ran down Carson.
Yeah.
He had that long, it was 50, 60 yards. So that's where he got it. And that's kind of normally what happens. If you watch somebody, gets 100, somewhere between 100 and 100 and under 120 yards, there's a run in there that's either 50 yards or there's 2 20-yarders.
Gotcha.
And then just kind of grind away the rest of the game. That's just kind of how it works. When you're pushing 150, 180, that's when you look and you've got 2 or 3 30-yarders and things like that. So yeah, it was Derrick Henry got that long one, and they held him under 100, and Carson got that long one, which Devin White actually made him fumble, went out of bounds. And if we would, I don't know, does that count? If we would have recovered that, does that run count?
I mean, it would probably go to the point of the fumble. So yeah, you got that. But what about Kevin Ross in the defensive backs room? I mean, my gosh.
That's who that was the one I voted for. I also voted for BA, who didn't make it. Bowles and Leftwich. Bowles because of sort of this turnaround in the second half of the season. I know it's weaker competition, but you could really see sort of it all come together.
Yeah, it might have been weaker competition, but they were legitimately playing better.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I mean, we saw it the first half of this year, and not it was Bowles' fault, but it was pretty much the same guys east in the backfield all of last year. It didn't matter who we played.
Right.
Even what was it, game 2, game 3? Daniel Jones comes in here and scores 4 touchdowns and looks like a world beater, and they called him Danny Dimes, and then they went and lost 10 in a row.
Right.
Right. So yeah, so all that coming together, and then the huge step forwards that SMB played, and Dean, and when Carlton
even
learned
Davis,
how to not get flagged every time he made a play, and that's why I voted for the defensive back coach. He was one of mine. One of mine. So this is going to be a tough one. I'm not sure who the favorite is. I think probably the defensive line coach. Who I didn't think of and put in there. I think him and Bowles will probably be the front runners.
It'll be interesting. It'll definitely be interesting to see how the people vote and what they do. All right, next category, Ren, moving on. This is a somewhat of a new category. We've just tweaked it a little bit from last year. This is our Step Up Player of the Year. And this is a player who has stepped up and made a significant contribution to the team, maybe one that was even unexpected, including but not limited to earning a starting role. on the team. So we have 5 nominees in this category, bringing in the rookie, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Kevin Minter, Brashard Perryman, Ronald Jones II, and Alex Kappa. So, we could talk about Kappa for a minute. I mean, my God, when you think about what Kappa was last year, he's a guy who definitely stepped up this year.
For a guy that couldn't, get ahead of, who was it? Beninock? Was that it?
Yeah, it was Beninock last year.
Yeah.
Right.
Couldn't get in front of Beninock.
Right. And we didn't talk about him a whole lot, right?
And that was great, which is great for an interior lineman.
Kind of in that same route, Ronald Jones as well. Not just from last year, but even this year. Like, he definitely started behind Peyton Barber.
Yeah.
And by the time we get to the end of the season, that script had flipped, and he was starting, over Peyton.
Right.
Brashard Perryman was another one. I know it took the injury and our 2 guys going out. Can't say they were on IR because they didn't. One of them didn't get placed on IR until the very end. But actually, I don't know if you ever did. Chris Godwin. But Brashard Perryman definitely stepped up there at the end when those guys went out. Sean Murphy-Bunting, you alluded to just a few minutes ago when we were talking about the defensive backs coach, of how he really turned it up, and then even Kevin Minter stepping in when Devin White went down early in the season.
Played awesome.
Yeah. So, deserving category. I'm interested to see how this one turns out, to see who sticks out in most people's minds as they go to vote for that. All right. Next category, Unsung Hero of the Year. This is a category that's really designed to give accolades to someone who has made one of the biggest contributions to the team but received little to no, pub about it or fanfare or whatever you want to say. In this category, I like this one. Ryan Jensen leading off the pack, Vita Vea, Ndamukong Suh, Carl Nassib, and Alex Kappa back again for a second category.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. Because Nassib and Sue and Kappa. I don't know about Vita. We were, I think Vita got a lot of, I know he get a lot of national love, but I think early on, he was getting a lot of love from the team, and people were talking about him, about how strong he from training camp on. Not that he's going to get blown out, but I think those other 3 guys sort of have a stronger case.
Well, we'll see. They all certainly are deserving of an award, but this is where our nominating committee placed everybody. I think I said a minute ago, leading off the pack, Ryan Jensen. These are not in any order, by the way, that they came in. These are all kind of shuffled up. He just was the first one on the list as I was reading it. That's all. All right, next category here, Free Agent of the Year. This is a free agent acquisition that has been signed during the 2019 league year. A change from last year's rule. We did not allow anybody who would have been a free agent who the team re-signed to qualify for this. They had to be new to the team this year. So with that, we had five guys in here. Leading off the pack, Shaq Barrett. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Ndamukong Suh, Brashard Perryman, Bradley Pinion, and Andrew Adams.
I don't think it's going to be much of a contest, Brent.
It'll be hard. The other guys, certainly I think when you look at the free agents that we brought in, you could make an argument for each one, but when you lead the league in sacks,
yeah,
it's just going to be a tough road to hoe for any of the other guys in this particular category.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see. We'll see. It's not up to us, Bryn. It's not up to you and I. It's up to the voting fans out there. So we'll see. We'll see who they vote. But yeah, I'm with you. All right. Hey, we're reining it into our top players of the year. Here we go. Rookie of the year. These were pretty much straight across with every single nomination form that came in. Devin White, Matt Gay, Jamel Dean, Sean Murphy-Bunting, and Mike Edwards.
Mike Edwards made it, huh?
Mike Edwards made it, yeah.
That's interesting. I think this is this isn't going to be close. It's not what it is. It's going to be White.
You think so?
It's going to be White,
yeah.
And then people that don't want to vote for White because they want to be like, I'm going to, have a smart vote. And those people are going to split between Dean and Gay.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, Devin White, he deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
He won Defensive Rookie of the Month twice.
Mm-hmm.
It's his to lose.
Right. It's one of those, for me, the guy I really loved, especially towards the end of the year, was Jamel Dean. I loved it every time he stepped on the field. And I don't think we had like, I mean, my God, Jamel Dean came in, only played like 7 games this year in the back half of the season, something like that.
Yeah.
And played like part-time and was like second in the league in pass breakups.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, he was a guy that I really loved. But I get exactly what you're saying when you talk about Devin White. I mean, you're right. He won Defensive Player of the Month for the last 2 months of the season back to back.
Yeah.
He really, he might have even qualified for that Step Up Player of the Year. Like the way that his play elevated over the course of the season was really something. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. But then, I don't know. If Matt Gay hadn't missed a couple of kicks there at the end of the season,
right,
he might give White a better run for his money. But I think those missed couple of kicks,
not a run,
right? I think those missed couple of kicks that are going to stick in people's minds. But we'll see, because a lot of people loved Matt Gay a lot this year.
Yeah.
So, all right. Let's bring it home. We got our final 3 categories here. Defensive Player of the Year. Who was our MVP of the defense for 2019? Here are the nominees: Shaq Barrett, Levante David, Devin White, Vita Vea, and Jason Pierre-Paul.
I think it's a 2-man race.
You think so?
Yeah. The first 2.
You think the first 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Levante David is a previous winner of this award too, by the way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he's been an argument for the winner of the award since we've had it, and even before then.
All 4 years, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, before this award show was anything, for sure.
He'd still be in that category. Mm-hmm. But again, like you said, when it was free agent of the year, it's hard to get past all those sacks.
Mm-hmm. It really is. And Levante David, I mean, my God, it just, especially for a guy who, experienced another quote unquote Pro Bowl snub. But he did just get named to, what was it, the All-Decade team. He was on the second team for the AP
All-Pro.
The
All-Pro
team.
The AP All-Pro.
Devin White came in certainly, with the rookie. He had Vita Vea I love watching him pick us center up and then walk him back and set him in his quarterback's lap. That was always fun to watch. And then JPP, I mean, I think he might have been in the running for this award last year. And I forget exactly where he was. He might have won.
I think so too.
Yeah. But, the difference from when he came in versus when he was gone, there was a significant difference. And a lot of our media friends, a lot of people that were there in the building, really placed a lot of that credit at JPP's feet. So we'll see. I'll be very interested to see how the fans vote on this one.
Levante David's chances are going to directly correlate to if it's before or after the free agents of the year question. Because if it's after, people have already voted for Shaq.
Right.
And go, well, I've already voted for Shaq. Levante deserves it.
So
but if it's in front of it, people will read it and go, well, Shaq, I love Levante, but fair's fair. Shaq was defensive MVP. And then they come down to free agent and they're like, oh, well, I got to give it to Shaq there too. So if they don't go up and change it, I think that's how it's going to work.
Well, and here's the thing. Part of the added security of this year's voting form is that the questions will shuffle for people, so they won't be in the same order, and the names won't always be in the same order. That way, it makes it a little harder for people to write bots, and things like that. Which we had a little bit. I probably shouldn't say that anyway. But we figured it out. We knew it was, and we were able to do the math on it. It was fine. But anyway, but it makes it a little harder for that kind of stuff. So of course, some smart person probably already knows how to get around it. So whatever, I don't care. We'll figure it out like we did last year.
These aren't the Nobel Prizes, so
right, exactly.
If we get hacked by Russia, so be it.
Right. All right, let's get on. Offensive Player of the Year. Who was the offensive MVP of 2019? Lots of good players, but here are the 5 who made the list. Jameis Winston, right up at the very top of my list here anyway. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, going head-to-head at it again. Both guys named to the Pro Bowl this year. We have Ryan Jensen sliding into this particular category.
Nice.
And Ronald Jones II.
I think, this would probably be a easy slam dunk for Winston if it wasn't for, the turnovers.
Right. What, Ren, according to you, if it wasn't for the turnover, and oh my God, not just you, but a lot of other people since you, if it wasn't for the turnovers, he'd be vying for MVP of the league.
Be a 2-man race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the turnovers are there. They are a thing. I really hope people don't just turn off Jameis because of that.
Yeah.
Really look at Jameis. There's going to be people that won't vote for him just because, if you want to vote for somebody else, you legitimately think that they were a more valuable player than Jameis, and however you assign value, fine. But to just negate Jameis because of the turnovers, I think would also be, not unfair, but
short-sighted.
Yeah, it would be short-sighted.
Yeah.
That's good word.
But since people are going to do that, it's Chris Godwin.
Yeah. Chris Godwin was certainly I can't say it was a surprise because we all saw it coming.
Yeah.
Right? And he just, every time we needed somebody, it was him.
And we saw it under Cutter. It just, he wouldn't put him in the game.
Right.
The only time he'd get the ball is, Deshaun Jackson's hurt. Oh, look, Chris Godwin, 100 yards and a touchdown. What do you know? Oh, 2 weeks in a row. Oh, D-Jax is back. Sorry, Chris. Hit the bench.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Whatever you say.
Which throws into question that idea that Alex Kappa couldn't get on the field over Caleb Benenoch. You're like, couldn't, or coach wouldn't let him.
Yeah. And then Jensen really falls into just happy to be nominated. Especially
I hate to put it like that, but I understand what you're saying there.
Yeah.
But there's a reason though that Jensen came in for the unsung hero of the year, which is a great spot for him. And I don't know that we talked about him much up there, but Jensen had a really good year at center, especially for a guy who had, by his own admission, struggled last year. All right. Well, Ren, we're up here against it. We are here with our final category of the evening, our 2019 Player of the Year. Which player takes it home for the entire team? The nominees are Mike Evans, Levante David, Chris Godwin, Shaq Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul.
Ooh, Jameis didn't make the list?
Jameis did not make this list. That's not to say that nobody nominated him. It just of the nominees, he was...
Oh, I know somebody nominated him because I did. I know I did. Wow. Okay, so Evans, Godwin, David...
Evans, Godwin, David, Shaq Barrett,
and JPP. Pierre-Paul, JPP. Ooh. I don't think really Mike has a chance.
Yeah.
Unless he gets everyone are just huge Mike Evans fans. You know what I mean? And it's just basically because he has a guy at his position put up better numbers than he did. Not just another guy in offense, There wasn't a guy in offense that had a better year, but Godwin had better numbers.
But didn't he play in one extra game than Mike Evans did?
Yeah, but still.
And I think Mike Evans got to the 1,000-yard mark before Godwin. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me on that.
So you got Godwin, Levante David, who could be up for this every year. Shaq Barrett, who's probably the odds-on favorite.
It's possible.
And then JPP, which you talked about how people in the know have really credited him with that defensive turnaround in the second half of the season that coincided and lined up with him coming back. So he could get some votes there, but I think it's a 3-man race. And I think it's going to go, I think Barrett, and then I think the odds are the same for David and Godwin. I think Godwin had more of a flashier year, but since it's his first time doing it, and with David's resume, those sort of wash each other out.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be something. I don't know that Shaq Barrett will run away with it as much as I think you will.
I don't think he will. I just think he's
so?
odds-on favorite.
You think? Well, I don't know that he's as much of a favorite as it seems to be. You're saying. I think it's going to be a more.
How much am I saying?
I don't know. Give me a percentage, Ren. What do you think?
I don't know. Well, it doesn't matter what it is. Obviously, you think.
I don't think he's the odds-on favorite. I think it's a fairly even race, at least between those three. And I think that either Mike Evans or JPP could be a legitimate dark horse in this category for this year.
That's good. So who do you think's going to win?
This particular category?
Yeah.
I want to refrain from saying that right now just because I don't want to bias people.
You don't want to have to.
And honestly, if because I'm the one who keeps all the votes and everything, if I don't want to be accused later of, oh, well, that's who you said, so you put it in there, because that's actually not the case. I keep the records of anybody.
Has
if
anyone
you really
ever done
want
that?
to challenge me on this? I've got the records.
Has anyone ever done that to you?
No, I don't think people. As you said, this is not like the Oscars,
yeah,
or anything like that. So, but it is. You know what? It is. It is what it is. Here's what's interesting about this particular award show, and this is why I enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun, but I also think there's a little bit of a lot of legitimacy. Not even a little bit. I don't want to undersell it. I do think there's a lot of legitimacy, because this is the only award show that's fan voted. There are awards, like podcast will do their, hey, here's our awards, and it'd just be like you and I sitting there going, this is who we think should win. Or
that's it.
Like Pewter Report just does theirs, and I'm not trying to knock on them, but they just did one, and it's just who they think they should win. Or like there's a couple awards, like I think the media core itself gives out to the players and things like that. This is the only show where it's really open to all fans to come and vote. Last year we had over 13,000 votes come in for this award, which was 10,000 more votes than we got the year prior to that. And I'm hoping to get, if we just get up to 20,000 this year, which is only 7 more, like that'd be awesome. Hopefully we blow it out of the water way even more than that, So, and I've got some people asking about most disappointing positions. We don't do that on this show.
Not anymore.
We did the first year, and it was just weird and awkward. So we cut those out. We don't do those on this show.
Because you did get trophies.
Right.
Like everyone gets a trophy.
That's a great thing. So here's what the players or whomever wins actually gets. They get a certificate and a letter kind of explaining what the award is, and the idea that it's from us as fans, collectively as a fan base, that it's not just two knuckleheads sitting in their living room saying, here's who we think should win. This really is. Huh?
Well, it is. It's two knuckleheads sitting in their living rooms.
Or 13,000 of them, or 20,000 of them, whatever. But it's legitimately from the fans, who have gone out and voted. And I don't go in and alter this based on my own personal feelings. Like, whoever wins is whoever wins. But they get the letter explaining that that's who it's from. They get the certificate, and then they actually get like a little trophy. And actually, if I was good, I'd have it pulled up. I've got it around somewhere. But they actually get like a little trophy to sort of commemorate it. And listen, this is a real low budget operation, so figure it, because it's coming out of a pocket. So if somebody would like to sponsor the award show this year, maybe we get some nicer trophies to put out there. Contact me at thepewtercast@gmail.com. Anyway, so Ren, that is our award show. Those are our nominations. That's who we've got coming up for this year. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how this goes, to watch this over the next couple of weeks. But here's the deal, guys. You have 2 weeks. 2 weeks to go vote, and you guys can vote starting right now. You guys want to go vote? Go do it. Here's the web address you go do it. It's really easy. www.thepewtercastawards.com, and that'll get you there. Let me say it again. You may not have to put that in. It's thepewtercastawards.com. You go there. It'll take you. You can vote. You can vote as often as you like, to be quite honest with you. And we would love to have you guys do that. Spread the word. Let people know about it. And then come back and make sure you join us on January 26th, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we will reveal who is taking home what is so affectionately known as the Pewties, or the Mini Lombardi. I still like the Mini Lombardi, but
Do you like the Mini Lombardi?
I like the name. I like the name, the Mini Lombardi.
Like the Pewties?
The Pewties has grown on me. It has grown on me. That was something I think you suggested in that first year, Ren.
No, it was Pinnacle.
Pinnacle. So, oh yeah, that's right. And it keeps coming back every year. So whatever. It's grown on me. It's fine. But how do you spell Pewtie? They're asking. It's P for anyone who wants to know. It's Pewtie is how you spell Pewtie.
Traditional spelling, of course.
Yes. Or it's the PewterCast Award, if you really want to be technical about it. So anyway, you guys go vote. The PewterCastAwards.com is where you guys can do that. You can vote from now, like I said, right up until actually I think we'll cut it off on the 25th because I got to tabulate everything. So that's what we've got. You guys can go over their votes. Look, votes are already coming in. People are already voting, man. That's cool. So anyway, with that, Ren, we do this every show, so I'll go ahead and do it here. Why don't you tell the folks where they can get a hold of you out there if they want to talk to you.
Sure. Be sure, speaking of voting, be sure to, like Brent mentioned earlier in the show, vote for our guy, Big Nasty. Mm-hmm. Super fan of the Buccaneers. He's up against 5 other fans in the NFL to get into the Hall of Fame. That is Ford
Hall of Fans.
I got it.
Okay.
I got it. It's Ford Hall of Fans / / No, that's not true either. No. FordHallOfFans.com / football. Or is it /? It's /.
You just say /. According to our friend Corey Draper, you just have to say /. You don't have to say.
That's right, because everyone knows it's /.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, what is it again?
FordHallOfFans.com / football.
And you go vote there every day. Mm-hmm. If he wins, he'll get to go to the Super Bowl, he goes to the Super Bowl, and then at the Super Bowl they treat it just like the other Hall of Fame inductees. He'll be in a hotel. If he gets a knock on the door, he'll know who made it. He'll get a gold jacket. He'll get a commemorative ring, which it's not going to be made of plastic, and plus he gets his bust in the Hall of Fame, which I think is probably the coolest thing ever. So and it goes in the Football Hall of Fame, it'll be in Canton forever.
Right.
So I think that's a cool thing. Big Nasty definitely deserves it. He does a lot of charity work. If you're interested in hearing some of the things he does do, just go back one podcast in the feed and listen to it. Brett and I got a chance to talk to Terry Bradshaw. Then after that, we did like a long two separate conversations with Big Nasty there. So, and you can go back and vote that every day. So every day, go to the PewterCast and vote, and then go vote for Big Nasty, get him in the Hall of Fame. But the best place to find me is on Twitter at Rendax, REN_DAXT. I'm always down to talk some Buccaneers football.
And if you guys want to get in touch with me, you can find me at Brent Allen Live across all the social medias, or the show. You can find us at the PewterCast on Twitter and on Facebook. If you got any questions, you can hit us up there, or you can shoot us an email to thepewtercast@gmail.com. Once again, the address that you go to vote at is the PewterCastAwards.com. That'll get you over there. You guys can go vote, and you vote for your favorites in each category. We'll tabulate them up. We'll figure it out, and winners get what the winners get. So it should be fun. Can't wait to talk to you guys then. January 26th, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, right here on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/thepewtercast. We'll talk to you guys then. And so until next time, guys, we'll close the show out as always. Go Bucks.